Now, Reggie, like yesterday, kind of mentioned Jalen Carter, right? I talked about at the top of the show about how JC could probably save the team. I'm not talking about Jesus Christ. I'm talking
No.
about
You
Jalen
talking about
Carter.
John Collins?
No.
Okay,
He ain't
okay,
saving
all
no
right.
team. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
He's not saving any
I just wanted
team.
to be
Don't get
clear.
me started on John Collins, please. Follow me here. I want to stay on track
Okay,
when
my bad. I'm
Tenitra
sorry.
is out. Like, because she helps me stay on track. It said I don't want to get off track for this show. But when I think I started doing a little research, right? So I started looking at the draft positions. And I'm trying to figure out how to get Jalen Carter to be able to become an Atlanta Falcon, right? Without them having to kind of give away the whole draft and do it. So I figured out I come up in a way.
Okay.
I found a way. So hear me out. Hear me out.
Sounds
All
like
right.
a parlay to me. A lot of things got to go right.
You know what?
Go.
It is so interesting that you say that. It kind of is like a parlay. So here's the thing. There are 4 teams that I identified in the top 10 that have no idea who their quarterback is. And the reason why I'm qualifying it like that is because, there are some teams, Seattle, they have Geno Smith. We don't know if they're going to re-sign him. You got Detroit, who has Jared Goff, who's, people think he's average, but they might be willing to stick around for a couple more years. And so those teams, I've kind of taken them out of it, right? But I've identified 4 teams that really they just don't have a quarterback. So they have no idea who it's going to be at this moment, right? All right, so I got Houston, I have Indianapolis, Las Vegas, and Carolina. Now, Houston, Indy, and Las Vegas are 2nd, 4th, and 17th picking respectively in the NFL draft. And Carolina is right behind the Falcons at 9. These 4 teams need quarterbacks badly. And you know what happens in the NFL draft when you have multiple teams in the top 10 who are quarterback needy? They started getting concerned when the first team makes that move. And here's the first team that I feel is going to make that move. It's Indianapolis is going to make a trade to jump Houston because Jim Irsay can't keep his mouth closed about who they really like in the NFL draft. They want Bryce Young badly. And I think that once you start to see that first domino fall, Indy, that is trading up in front of Houston, that's when I feel like the Falcons going to have the best chance to draft the guy who I feel is the best defensive player in this draft.
He's special.
Yes, he's super special. Because and I even go back to last year because you know how all the hype started coming around with Trayvon Walker and how he was going to be the number 1 overall pick. And I was just like, man, I was kind of, racking my brain. I was like, okay, am I missing something? Like, I feel like I got a good eye for football, but I just really can't grasp, like, what are y'all seeing? What am I missing? So I went back and watched the tape, right? I went back and pulled a game. I just pulled a random game. Pull a random game here. Boom. Put the game on. I think it may have been, I can't even remember what game it was. I was watching the game, and I was sitting up here like, okay, you got Devontae Wyatt drafted in the first round. Okay. You got Jordan Davis drafted in the first round. Okay. Those guys were, pretty good. But you know who stood out to me the most, though?
Who?
Jalen Carter.
Makes sense.
Jalen Carter stood out to me on the tape with multiple first-round picks. The number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis went to the Eagles, and Devontae Wyatt, excuse me, he went to the Green Bay Packers. All those guys were taken in the first round. And if you got a guy that's standing out with those guys in that lineup, you got Jalen Carter's the guy that popped out to me on tape first. That lets you know that dude is absolutely special. And like we talked about yesterday with Jesse Bates, that conversation whether or not we want him or not. Like, can this dude take the Falcons defense to the next level? If the answer is no, you need to stay away. It was no for me for Jesse Bates. But when it comes to Jalen Carter, I feel like this is the type of dude that can take this defense to the next level.
I think it'd be big to have. I mean, like you said, he is an absolute specimen up front, and I mean, it's crazy when you just think about how the defensive line worked last year for Georgia or 2 years ago. Now at this point, I mean, it's just all that talent on that front line. It's kind of like how did they weren't going to lose at the end of the day. I mean, they found a way to lose against Alabama, but that had nothing to, you know what I mean? That's a lot of talent, right? I think for the Falcons, I think you pray that he lasts that long, right? You pray that he's still in that position, right? But here's where things get real crazy, right? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, right?
Yeah, we're speaking hypotheticals now.
Let's get a little wild and crazy, right?
Let's do it.
Let's say the Bears up front, they're like, all right, boom, we really like Justin Fields, but we say, you know what? Let's reset the clock. We got the number 1 overall pick. Maybe we get somebody that can throw the ball a little bit better than Justin Fields that has at least some sort of ability to run, right? You go after CJ Stroud or maybe Bryce Young, right? I'd probably go CJ Stroud if you're in that position because their offensive line's terrible and you need to be able to protect them and a guy that can probably stand up, right? So let's say they go over at 1, right? And they run with it there, right? That's when we start getting crazy, right? Because this is where I'm trying to get it.
Crazy.
I'm trying to get it to where Jalen Carter is available, or we just get a little wilder, right?
Yes, exactly. We love chaos.
So let's say we go Bryce off. Bryce is at 2 for Houston, right? And then let's say I've seen things where people are like, "Hey, look, Will Anderson's good, but you know how it works. When somebody's a player that you've known for a long time, it's just the best player ever that should be the number 1 overall pick, people start to overthink it, right?
They get bored, yeah.
I've seen people talk about Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech going above Will Anderson as early as number 3 to the Cardinals. So at that point, it's like, all right, we got a shot here. We got a shot here, right?
That's fine.
And then you talk about it, right? The Colts, they need a quarterback, right? Let's say they go, I don't know, Will Levis, right? Who I don't understand how or why anybody would do that. Like, I don't understand the whole thing about Will Levis, but maybe that's just me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you still got Will Anderson and Miles Murphy from Clemson and a couple other guys, right? So, like, at this point, let's say Will goes there, Miles goes at 6. I don't know what the hell the Raiders are going to do, but they need a quarterback. So they're just going to pick one of them. Maybe, I don't know, a buddy from over at Florida.
Anthony Richardson.
Maybe. Right? Yeah. So that leaves you right at 8 and Jalen Carter right available.
Oh, if all 4 of those quarterbacks go in the top 8, though, lock it in.
You're feeling
88
good.
is coming. 88 is coming to save the day.
You're feeling real good. We had to figure out a way to make it work. But even then, like I think even if the Bears trade down, right? Even if they trade down, as long as they could probably it probably can still happen, right? It's just all about if the right things have to kind of line up, which is hilarious. Like we're hopping on this show just talking about just making up stuff because who knows what's gonna happen, man? We're just all winging it. I mean, I've seen people. I mean, when you look at I think Bucky or Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, he said Lucas Van Ness from Iowa, the edge guy coming from over there, could be the guy that they pick, right? I think that maybe I've never heard of him before, but maybe it's just guy I don't know ball, or maybe it's because I'm not watching Iowa football, right?
Here's the thing though, Reggie. Like it happens every year, right? Yeah. Like we're talking about Will Levis in the same conversation as Bryce Young and CJ Stroud.
It's unbelievable.
Like just look at like the big games. Just think about all the big games. Big game quarterbacks. We've seen Bryce Young do it, and we've seen CJ Stroud do it against Georgia recently. And if it wasn't for like he essentially beat Georgia. Like everybody, nobody don't want to kind of like admit to that. Let's admit to it. It almost happened, and it would have been because of him and the way he played. So I think that, and you always have that quarterback that comes out of nowhere as well, and Will Levis can fall into that category. But I wholeheartedly believe this. Like I'm glad you mentioned Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson probably gonna end up being a top 10 pick because here's why. I've already started too. You starting to hear the conversations about Josh Allen and comparisons. Oh, yeah, Josh Allen wasn't accurate. Oh, yeah, Anthony Richardson got some size on the too and got a cannon for an arm. And it happens every year, man. We see guys pop up out of nowhere. You mentioned the guy from Iowa, Van Ness. Those are the type of people that always end up falling into the top 10. Sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. And a lot of times it's never in between. It's either hit or miss. And those are type of picks that gets general managers fired. So I'm trying to just help the Falcons not keep Terry Fontenot around for a few years. And hey, man, let these chips fall where they may. Let the crazy go cray, and figure out a way to get Jalen Carter because he's the guy. I feel like if you put him next to Grady Jarrett, man, look, we're gonna have some fun Mondays on down in the fall right here on ATL Day Ones, my brother.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's gonna be something special up front. But like you mentioned,
it'll be something.
It's a lot of just these guys go to the combine. People just look at the measurables, man. I think that Lucas Van Ness kid's 6'5", 275, right? And so like on paper, you're like, all right, this guy can be coming off the edge like crazy. But then you read other stuff, it's like he has like maybe a second day grade, but because of his intangibles, you're like, all right, we just got to kind of throw him up here and see what happens, right? So it's really what it is, which really means like I probably, I'm not 6'5", but maybe I should have been really, I should have been doing something, man, because a lot of these guys get drafted just off the strength that they're superhuman, right? I should have just been in the gym a little more, get my weight up or something. Because I feel like I could have been a professional kicker at the least if I really put some effort into it. So that's a different.
So you got enough athletic ability to be,
Oh man, what?
an average kicker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I'm above average, baby. I got ice in my veins, bro. I'm hitting every field goal in front of me. Stop playing.
Oh man, y'all better stop playing with us on ATL day ones because we like to have fun here, and we're going to talk about a very interesting topic coming up because there is this young lady in Las Vegas that she was able to take advantage of a situation where she got $10 million.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that next, about what would you do with it. But first, we got to talk about, ATL Day Ones and how you've been making us your first listener today. How about this? You go make Locked On Sports Today your second listener today. They're free and available wherever you download this podcast. And we appreciate you guys for liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. We're almost up to 6,000. I told you we're going to get there with you or without you. So you have not done that yet. Become a part of the family. Join today. Stop being hot. We want like lukewarm people. Either you're with us or you're against us. So yeah, if you're watching or listening and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel or downloaded our podcast, go ahead and start doing that today.